Hey guys, and welcome back to XO Medical Spa. In an ongoing effort to give you new content, what we're going to do today is the popular one we did a couple weeks ago, and that was unpopular opinions. And the unpopular opinion I came up with today is, can Botox make you look worse? And the other one I commonly run into is, I want you to lift my eyebrows with Botox. Let's address these two concepts when we come back. With Botox or any aesthetic procedure, there's a fine line between getting the results that we want and then going overboard and giving it unnatural results, or just injecting the product, the fillers, the threads, the Botox in a manner that doesn't make us look good. So if we're talking about Botox, can Botox be done where it makes you look even worse than what you start off with? We want wrinkle reduction, we want to get rid of the frown, we want to get rid of the forehead wrinkles, the crow's feet, maybe slim down these masters and give you more of that V shape, or get rid of some of these bands. Now, can I inject Botox in a way where you look even worse than where you started off from? Absolutely. So you have to think about it. Botox doesn't fix the wrinkle. What it's fixing is the animation that causes the wrinkle. Now, that's only what we're talking about, wrinkles in the upper face. If we're talking about masters and we want to shrink the jaw, that's a whole different matter. But let's just talk about muscle and wrinkles. So every time I frown, I create this furrow. Every time I lift my eyebrow, I create these wrinkles. Every time I smile big, I create these crow's feet. So what Botox is trying to do is make it so I can't frown for the next 3 months. I can't lift my eyebrows as much for the next 3 months. And when I smile, I'm not limiting my smile, but this contraction of this eye area when I smile. And then through that, because I'm not making the wrinkle, your body is actually what fixes those wrinkles for you. Now, the analogy I commonly use, and you guys have heard me talk about it, is think of pillow marks. When we wake up in the morning, we have all these pillow marks throughout our face because we're creating those wrinkles when we're sleeping. Pillows swishing against our face, and we create those wrinkles. What happens to those wrinkles throughout the day? They slowly fade throughout the day. And that's what Botox is trying to do. It's eliminating the cause so our body can fix those wrinkles. Now, how can Botox make us look worse if you're telling me all it does is wrinkle reduction? If it's affecting muscle, we have to think about what is that muscle supporting? And if we're losing that support, how does that in turn make us look worse? Let's take two examples. One of them is around the crow's feet, under eye wrinkles, and the other one where our patient just left is she wanted a lip flip and she wanted to reduce some of the gums when she smiles, when we talk about the gummy smile. I'll use my trusty little model here. I hope you guys can see this, and we'll talk about the muscle contraction. Around the eyes, you have a sphincter muscle, and the sphincter muscle contracts inwards when we contract. So when you smile, everything constricts together. You can see here when I smile, everything gets a little bit smaller because you're constricting that muscle. Not constricting the muscle, but the muscle constricts. So by shooting Botox in this area, I'm reducing the amount of contraction that causes, so you get less wrinkles. So when I smile, less wrinkles in that area. Now, if I march my way down, and when we smile, you'll see, close up in the mirror, you'll see your eyes pull inwards, causing those wrinkles. Can you Botox this area? Yes, but you have to be very, very conservative, and you have to consider who you're doing it on. If I pinch your skin and it bounces back relatively well, then we can probably safely treat Botox underneath your eyes to reduce the wrinkles. Now, if I pinch your skin and it doesn't rebound back, or if I pinch it and it leaves a little tenting, meaning that it doesn't rebound back, I have to be more cautious. Because if I shoot Botox underneath the eyes, I'm reducing that muscle that holds my cheek up. If I paralyze that muscle, if I relax that muscle, where's that muscle going to go? It's going to go down. So if you've ever had Botox underneath your eyes and you're like, why do I look absolutely worse than when I started off with? Although the wrinkles are gone, your cheek settles, your eye settles, and everything falls because this muscle right here holds that cheek up, helps support that cheek, reduce that strength, atrophy that muscle, get rid of the wrinkles, but it's at the expense of holding that cheek up. And that's why you look more tired. That's why you look older than when prior to doing the Botox. That patient I just left the office, she had never done gummy smile before. She had never done a lip flip. Now there's two ways to go about doing a lip flip. Is you can shoot right above the lip, relinquishes that sphincter muscle. Again, same muscle that wraps around our mouth is the same muscle that wraps around our eyes. Everything constricts together. So if you have a very strong orbicularis oris caught me there for a second. If you have a very strong orbicularis oris right here, it pulls your lips in and it contracts. So when you smile, it pulls it up and it shows gummy smile. So if we shoot a little bit of Botox here, or we relax that. Shoot too much in this area, and now you have no smile whatsoever. It will drop that smile too much. Another way we can more aggressively treat the gummy smile is we shoot the LAO right here. There's a little muscle that connects from the corner of the nose down to the corner of the mouth, and it lifts that corner of the mouth when you smile. If it's too strong, it lifts too much of that mouth, lifts too much of that lip, and it shows gums. And not everyone wants that big gummy smile. So if we shoot this area, I can treat it conservatively because I don't want to affect your smile too much. But let's just say I overdo it. Your muscles aren't as strong as we thought they were, or you went to a practice that was more aggressive in their treatments. Now you've dropped that smile. You can no longer smile. So now what you started off with, fixing a gummy smile, doing a lip flip, in turn made your smile gone, and now you look worse than what you started off as. Now lastly, my favorite, and probably I want to get a bunch of hate for this and a bunch of debate, but I love this back and forth. Every provider thinks a little bit differently, but when it comes to lifting of the eyebrows, this is what I get. A patient will come in and they'll tell me, I want a brow lift, and I want you to shoot up here. And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, if Botox paralyzes a muscle, and the only muscle that lifts your eyebrows is your forehead, how will shooting Botox up here lift your eyebrows if I'm getting rid of the muscle that lifts your eyebrows? I hope that makes sense. If I have a bunch of bungee cords holding up my eyebrows, and that's the only thing that lifts up my eyebrows, Botox is snipping those bungee cords, meaning you can't lift your eyebrows as much. You're relinquishing the wrinkles, but at the expense of your eyebrows. Reduce the wrinkles at the expense of the eyebrows. That's why here you can aggressively treat pretty well because you just can't frown at people. Here you can treat pretty safely because you reduce wrinkles when you smile. But here, if you want to aggressively treat the wrinkles, you're going to be pretty frozen. So this one is the fine balance between how much wrinkle reduction you want versus not feeling ultra heavy. So what do they mean by shooting up here to lift your eyebrows? This is semantics, but technicalities, right? What you're actually doing is, here's muscle again. You have these two strips running down your forehead. This one, flip it over to the other side. This muscle, when it contracts, lifts the eyebrows. So what you're actually doing is, you are dropping the middle of the brow and leaving that little strip of muscle left to lift your eyebrows. So you're not lifting any higher than what you naturally are. You're actually dropping the middle of your brow and lifting this end. But that's when you get the Spock look. So if you've ever had Botox and you wanted that brow lift and you came back and you had this very surprised Spock look, that's the rationale for it. Now we can fine tune it and get it back to where it's more natural, but that's the trade-off. How much brow lift do you want? Which technically you cannot get a brow lift. You're dropping everything in between, but now you're also getting that Spock look. So it's a fine balance. So if Khan, you're telling me I've been lied to my whole life by shooting up here and getting a brow lift, how do you technically get a brow lift then? We talked about it. Drop the middle while leaving that little muscle contraction on the side. And then also that muscle we talked about right around the eyes, right? When we smile, everything contracts down and pulls down. So by treating the crow's feet, treating that brow area around here, that's when we can give you a slight elevation. So again, nuances, semantics, but also your provider needs to be able to explain that to you and give you a better understanding of it. Because every time I explain this to people, I get this just deer in the headlight look because they've been getting Botox their whole life. And all of a sudden I'm telling them, if I shoot up here, there's no way you can get a brow lift. And I want you to understand the differences when it comes to that. So those are some unpopular opinions. Can Botox make you look worse? Absolutely. Because you have to think about the muscles that support the face. And then can Botox lift the brows? Yes, no, kind of. But that's the explanation that I have behind it. So again, if you like this model, you like my muscle explanations, you like these unpopular opinions when it comes to Botox, thumbs up, give it a like, send it, whatever you guys want to do. Helps your algorithm, helps us out, and then also sends this information out to other people who would need this information as well. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Excellent Medical Spa.